Hello, hello. All right, I have got a concept I want to throw your way that I think will be super helpful. There is a constant question I get. We didn't have it as much during COVID because people weren't being social, but when people are being social, when they're getting together with family and friends, one of the issues that always comes up and it creates a lot of discomfort is this idea that you eat differently than other people. Or if you're choosing a healthy option when others aren't, you might get pushback from those that love you or are your friends. And they're like, oh, come on, it's just this one time. Let's do this. It's not a big deal. Aren't you ever going to get to enjoy yourself again? All that kind of stuff. And it can be really heartbreaking for the person who's trying to change their life because they think their family and friends should be on board. They think they should be their cheerleaders. They think that it shouldn't create this much rift, right? I'm reading a book right now. I love to read, number one. Number two, I love to find information to help others because I see so much suffering around weight management, alcohol consumption, all these different things. And I'm currently reading a book called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. It's a really good book. She spends a lot of time talking about how people have changed their perceptions of alcohol and how that affects drinking. But there's a part in there where she quotes another book called Alcohol Lied to Me, The Intelligent Way to Stop Drinking, and the author's name is Beck. And in this particular section, they were talking about why do people that want to stop drinking, right? And you can substitute eat healthy, whatever in there, make an improvement, right? Why do we get pushback from those that love us or that are our friends? And I loved this. Beck in his book, Alcohol Lied to Me, apparently stated that and we've heard this before, there's two primary drivers for all human behavior: to avoid pain and to pursue pleasure, right? And you and I in our Thinking Leads to Eating series, we've talked a lot about lower brain, and lower brain shows up when you are in discomfort, when you are in a state of anxiety. Well, he said what happens is the reason you get pushback from the people you love is because in the moment that you're choosing to abstain from alcohol, aka also choosing to eat healthy, and everyone else isn't, is you highlight the fact you have now raised your standards. And if everyone is triggered to respond to things from either desiring pleasure and avoiding pain, what that does is it creates the reality for them that their standard is not maybe where they think it should be, right? So I see you're eating healthy, and then I realize, I fell down on my diet again. Lower brain chatter starts to kick in. We're going to fix this. We're going to do this. But in that moment, I feel discomfort and pain because I'm realizing my standards aren't where your standards are. And so it's easier for me to feel better in the moment to try to get you to lower your standards as well. Okay. And I shared this with my kids. I have three, soon to be all teenage boys. And I want them to understand how this works because I want them to understand, just like I want you to understand, that this is not about you. It's not about the food you have on your plate. It's not about your decision. It's not about people loving you and wanting to support you. The amazing thing that I have learned from doing all of this mind work and reading all these books, almost nothing that happens outside of your own experience has anything to do with you. We think we have an influence over other people. We think that our actions are affecting all these people and what they're thinking and doing. They're all kind of predisposed into their own stuff. Yes, we're all together in a room, but in their head, they're in their own world. They're picking themselves apart for having not lost weight up to this point, or for having a raging drinking issue and not feeling like they can control themselves. Your actions or lack of actions or whatever is not the problem. It's their becoming aware of yet again something that about them that they want to change, they don't like, they have a problem with, lower brain's talking to them, making them feel extremely discomforted, right? So he talks about the fact, okay, if we're motivated by either moving toward pleasure, moving away from pain, somebody sees you raising your personal standards, it highlights for them, they have not done that. They have not said I should be eating healthier. They haven't decided to stop drinking, whatever the thing is. And then they want to bring you down to their level, right? And so the hardest thing in that moment for you is to stay grounded and just ask yourself, check in really simply, knowing that this is how human behavior works. If it was a line of cocaine on a plate and somebody said, here's your line, enjoy, and you go, oh no, I don't do drugs. And they're like, what? See, inside they're realizing, right? I do drugs. I have a problem. This makes me very uncomfortable. My standards are not where your standards are. A lot of chatter in their head. Well, come on, just this once. It's not going to hurt anything. You wouldn't give in to some of these situations because it's outside your scope of being. You're like, I just don't do those things. Like, I don't drink, ironically, right? I'm reading all these books on alcohol. I don't drink. It's not a problem for me. So if somebody offers me alcohol, I just say no because I don't drink, right? So but that's clear, but food might not be as clear for you. But I want you to think about this. You can switch out the components: alcohol, food, drugs, having an affair, gambling, whatever. It's irrelevant. The thing which you have to understand is whenever you've chosen to change your life in a positive way and you've raised your standards, somebody in your immediate circle may have issue with that because it has nothing to do with you. Pay attention. Nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the food on your plate. It's that personal awareness. Oh, I haven't done that. My standards are still way down here. And I've been saying for 10 years that I want, and honestly, this was a battle I had. Like, I would go back to family of origin get-togethers, everyone's loading up the plate, having all the, Heather, are you dieting? Are you not gonna eat it? No, I've just changed how I eat, right? Like, I don't eat the same as you guys do. But if I had allowed that influence to take me back down, I wouldn't be here right now having this conversation with you, walking around my neighborhood, recording a video for Half Size Me 16 years later, right? I had, without even the knowledge of how this works, I had to become secure in myself. But the reason I share this with you is because the more you understand why is this happening, you don't have to take it personally. That's the thing. And honestly, could some people want to distance themselves because every time they're around you, they become very aware? Yes, but again, that's not your problem. It's their problem because it's you this time. But what if a coworker cleans up their eating habits? What if their boyfriend or girlfriend changes how they do things? They ultimately, whenever they're ready, they have to deal with it. But you trying to change you to make them feel better is insanity. It's not going to have the result you want because, yes, you're going to eat that plate of food. You're going to make them feel comfortable, or you can't even make them feel comfortable. You choose to do that because you think it's going to have that power. And then you're now miserable too, right? Because you're not doing the thing you wanted to do. So just kind of understanding that inside everybody's head, there's this kind of tug of war going on. And all your decision is doing is highlighting for them something that they wanted to change, a pain point for them. Your standards are at a different point. They might feel this internal desire to bring you back down to that level so that way they feel better. It's an outside way of trying to control that. But in all fairness, even if in that moment you gave in, that problem for that person will still exist. It's not going anywhere until they come to terms with that situation and they choose to do whatever's in their best interest. So I hope this helps. Again, if you're interested, the book was called The Naked Mind by Annie Grace. And again, in there, they go through a lot of interesting behaviors with alcohol, but also they transfer very well onto weight loss, weight management. And I will tell you as a coach, outside of food, alcohol is my next biggest contender when it comes to why people struggle with losing weight. I did not realize when I started all this how much alcohol was going to play into everything. And I would say, if we're talking 10 people I'm working with, maybe 3 or 4 of them are also battling alcohol issues. Not that they're an alcoholic, but just that this particular outlet it is taking up some of their valuable calories, leading to unhelpful eating behaviors. So I kind of see this on a pretty regular basis. So just hear me when I say, do you realize why they're doing what they're doing? It's not personal. It's not that they don't love you and care about you. It's just that they have these two strong drivers for making decisions on how they want to show up. And they're desperately trying to make themselves feel better, just like if it was anything else, right? Like they're just trying to change the temperature in the room so they feel more comfortable. You giving in that moment isn't going to fix the problem, because the problem is a much deeper rooted issue. And in that moment, it might bring them a sense of levity, but it's not going to fix it long term. So take care of yourself first and foremost, and let them take care of them. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.